Hello MDCAT aspirants, I hope you will be fit and fine and doing well. Welcome to Medico Science. So today we are going to solve the MCQs of MDCAT test 2024 that was conducted by Sakhar IBA or SIBA testing services. So let's move over today's goal and we are gonna solve the biology questions first. And here the question number 1 of biology portion is CD4 receptor site is found in all types of cells except option A is the helper T cells, option B is the MHCH, option C is the brain cells, and option D is the suppressor T cells. So the CD4 receptor sites are present in the cells of immune system, and here the most odd one option is option C, brain cells, because brain cells are divided of CD4 receptor cells, or sorry, CD4 receptor sites. So the correct option will be option C. Question number 2 is a Russian scientist discovered that certain diseases could be transmitted by an agent that could pass through a very fine filter, which is called option A is the bacteria, option B is the fungi, option C is the algae, and option D is the viruses. So there was a Russian scientist who told us about the properties of viruses, and one of that property was these are so tiny particles that can pass through a filter paper, and bacteria usually don't pass through these filter paper. So these are the property of virus, and Russian scientists have told about that viruses. So here the correct option will be option D, viruses. Question number 3 is example of reverse transcribing diploid single-stranded RNA viruses are option A is the hepatitis B virus, option B is the HIV, option C is the rabies, and option D is the chickenpox. So HIV or human immunodeficiency virus that causes AIDS in human beings has the ability of reverse transcribing diploid single-stranded RNA into double-stranded RNA because of the reverse transcriptase enzyme. So this is the most unique property of HIV, that it has reverse transcriptase enzyme. So the correct option here will be option B. Question number 4 is the viruses are called non-cellular infectious entities because option A is that they are pathogens and cause infections. Option B, they can replicate inside as well as outside the living cells. Option C is they cause infections and can only replicate inside living cell. And option D is they have capsid to infect the host. So one of the most unique property of virus is that they are known as borderline between livings and non-livings because they can replicate and show the properties of living inside of the host or living cell, but outside its host they usually act as a non-living things. So here the correct option will be option C. They can cause infections and can only replicate inside living cells. So the question number 5 is which statement is correct about the glycolysis process? Option A is the 2 ATP are produced and 2 ATP are consumed. Option B is the 1 ATP is produced and 2 ATP are consumed. Option C is the 2 ATP are produced and 1 ATP are consumed, and option D is the 4 ATP are produced and 2 ATP are consumed. Here the correct option will be option D, 4 ATP are produced and 2 ATP are consumed. When the question is asked about the net ATP produced, then there will be 2 ATP production, net ATP production will be 2. But here the question is about the total ATP produced and total consumed. So the option D will be the most appropriate option here. 4 ATP are produced and 2 ATP are consumed. Question number 6 is during the light dependent phase of photosynthesis, the water molecule is broken down into, when you will break a water molecule into its constituent components, it will be broken into 2 protons, 2 electrons and half mole of oxygen. So here the correct option will be option A, 2 electrons, 2 protons and half mole of oxygen. Question number 7 is ATP is best defined as, option A is the molecule that has no role in muscle contraction, option B is the molecule that releases energy when phosphate molecule is added, C the molecule that is only present inside the nucleus, and D the molecule that releases energy when the phosphate molecule is removed. So ATP is also known as the energy currency of the cell. And when ATP is being converted to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, a great amount of energy is released by this process. So the correct option here will be option D, the molecule that releases energy when the phosphate molecule is removed, or when the ATP is converted into ADP, a lot of energy is released. So the option D will be the correct option. Question number 8 is erythrose is a type of monosaccharide which is commonly known as, option A is the triose, option B is the tetrose, option C is the pentose, and option D is the heptose. So erythrose is a sugar that consists of 4 carbon, and 4 carbon sugar is commonly termed as tetrose. So here the correct option will be option B, tetrose. So question number 9, the hypothalamus produce the signaling molecule like A is the granzyme, B is the spermine, C is the pyrogen, and D is the prostaglandins. So here the correct option will be option D, prostaglandins, that can also act as hormones. And question number 10 is, in electron transport chain, ultimate electron acceptor is option A is the NADH, option B is the NADH, option C is the oxygen, and option D is the cytochrome complex. So here the ultimate electron acceptor in electron transport chain is oxygen. Ultimate means in last oxygen has to gain that electrons. Following are viral disease except option A is the hepatitis, option B is the polio, option C is the syphilis, and option D is the AIDS. So all of the following are viral disease except one, and that one is option C, syphilis, because syphilis is a bacterial infection that is caused by Treponema pallidum, and it is one of the sexually transmitted disease. Syphilis is one of the sexually transmitted disease. So question number 12 is, the property of water that is important to biological membrane stability is option A is the anomalous, option B is the amphoteric, option C is the hydrophobic exclusion, and option D is the hydrophobic inclusion. So here the correct option will be option C, hydrophobic exclusion. Question number 13 is, glycosidic linkage between glucose and fructose is option A is alpha 1 and beta 2, option B is alpha 1 and beta 4, option C is alpha 1 and alpha 4, and option B is the beta 1,4 linkage. So glycosidic linkage between glucose and fructose, in sucrose, glucose and fructose are being used, but alpha glucose and beta fructose is used. And the common glycosidic linkage between glucose and fructose is alpha beta 1,2 glycosidic linkage. Option A will be the correct, alpha 1 beta 2 or alpha beta 1,2 glycosidic linkage. Question number 4 is, cyclic phosphorylation is stimulated by option A is the low level of NADPH, option B is the high level of NADPH, option C is the low light intensity, and option D is the high light intensity. So phosphorylation, cyclic phosphorylation mainly depends on the light intensity. If there will be the greater light intensity, then the cyclic phosphorylation will be stimulated. So here the correct option will be high light intensity. Question number 15 is, a process by which one glycerol molecule is linked with 3 fatty acids by the esterification molecule is known as. One of the pretty simple question. Option A is the acylglycerol, option B is the wax, option C is the cholesterol, and option D is the phospholipid. So when 3 fatty acids combined with the glycerol molecule, a neutral fat molecule is produced, and that molecule is known as acylglycerol, which is also known as triacylglycerol or neutral lipid of the human body. Question number 16 is, the layer of the plant cell wall formed at the time of cytokinesis is option A is the primary wall, option B is the secondary wall, option C is the middle lamella, and option D is the tertiary wall. So the wall that is formed at the time of cytokinesis is middle lamella. So here the correct option will be middle lamella. And inside the middle lamella there will be the formation of primary and secondary walls. So question number 17 is, cell membrane is selectively permeable due to option A is the proteins, option B is the cholesterol, option C is the phospholipid, and option D is the enzymes. So cell membrane is a selectively permeable membrane, and selectively permeable membrane is due to option A, proteins, because these are the proteins that form uniform channels, or they may act as carrier proteins by transporting the substance across the cell membrane. So question number 18, during photorespiration an acid glycolate is formed which is converted into glycine by option A is the lysosome, option B is the Golgi complex, option C is the peroxisome, and option D is the vacuole. So here the correct option will be option C, peroxisome. So option C will be the correct option. Question number 19, the pulmonary volume is an essential part of pulmonary ventilation. It depends upon the option A is the physical activity, option B is the body volume, option C is the body composition, and option D is the composition of air. So the pulmonary volume ultimately depends on the body composition of a person. So the correct option will be option C, body composition. Question number 20 is the human brain is different from an animal's brain due to the cerebral cortex of animal's brain is more developed. Option B is the cerebral cortex is absent in the human brain. Option C is cerebral cortex is absent in all animals' brain. And option D is that the cerebral cortex of the human brain is much more developed. So the correct option will be option D, because the human brain is different from animal's brain and can work efficiently because of cerebral cortex. And cerebral cortex of the human brain consists of gray matter, and it is much more developed than other animals like chimpanzees, monkeys or dogs. So option D will be the correct option. So here question number 21 is who receives stimuli and conduct impulses to the cell body. Option A is the axon, option B is the dendrites, option C is the motor neurons, and option D is the sensory neurons. So keep in mind that dendrites always receive information from the periphery and they send this information to the cell body, and from the cell body the information is being sent to the axon terminals. So the stimuli is received by dendrites and that stimuli is being transferred to the axon or cell body, mostly cell body. Question number 22 is a nerve impulse arriving at the axon terminal causes the opening of. Option A is the calcium channel, option B is the potassium channel, option C is the calcium and sodium channels, and option D is the chloride channels. So when a nerve impulse arrives at the axon terminal, then calcium ions start to diffuse from the synaptic cleft into the synaptic membranes, and due to this the neurotransmitter membrane fuses with the axon terminals and releases their neurotransmitters. So here the most important gates are opened, and these gates are of calcium channel, or calcium gates or calcium channels are being opened. Question number 23 is the first stable product of light independent reaction having 3 carbon is. Option A is the 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, option B is the 3-phosphoglyceric acid, option C is the 1,3-biphosphogycerate, and option D is the dihydroxyacetone phosphate. So the first stable 3 carbon product that is formed is 3-phosphoglyceric acid or 3-phosphoglycerate. Question number 24 is a disulfide bridge is found in which biomolecule? Option A is enzymes, option B is the carbohydrate, option C is the protein, and option D is the lipid. Here the both options are correct, enzymes and proteins, but the most appropriate option is proteins, because enzymes are the part of proteins and you know that some of the amino acids contain sulfur in their structure. So here the most appropriate option will be option C, proteins, because most of the amino acids or some of the amino acids contain sulfur in their structures, due to which disulfide bonds are formed among proteins. Question number 25 is the number of spinal nerves that originate from the spinal cord. Option A is the 24 nerves, option B is the 40 nerves, option C is the 48 nerves, or option B is the 62 nerves. We usually hear about the 31 pairs of spinal nerves, means 31 pairs on the left side and 31 pairs on the right side. When you will add 31 plus 31, then it will be 62 nerves. So here the correct option will be option D, 62 nerves. Question number 26 is which of the following helps in long-term memory in human beings? Option A is the cerebrum, option B is the medulla, option C is the cerebellum, and option D is the hippocampus. So in long-term memory, the part of brain that is being used is the hippocampus. Here the correct option will be option D, hippocampus. Hippocampus is the memory card of the human brain. Question number 27 is the pathway in which water and minerals are stopped by a Casparian strip is known as. Option A is the amygdala, option B is the cerebellum. Sorry, that's a wrong one question here, so we are not going to attempt it. Question number 28 is nicotine stimulates heart rate, blood pressure and muscular activity because. Option A, it has excitatory effect on acetylcholine receptors. Option B is it has inhibitory effect on acetylcholine receptors. Option C, it inhibits the synapse between neurons, and option D, causing drop in the heart rate. So nicotine is present in our cigarettes, and it also present in the tea and other drinks, energy drinks. So it has excitatory effects on acetylcholine receptors. So here the correct option will be option A. It has excitatory effects on acetylcholine receptors because after drinking the energy drinks you will feel energetic. You will feel that you can do each and every kind of work. So question number 29 is completes the life cycle in 2 birds, snail, sheep or man. Option A is the liver fluke, option B is the snail, option C is the earthworm, and option D is the tapeworm. So the correct option here will be option A, that is a liver fluke that completes its life cycle in 2 hosts. Question number 30 is which statement is correct about Nigerians? Option A is they kill the prey with the help of stinging cells. Option B, they kill the prey with the help of tentacles. Option C, they kill the prey with the help of spicules. And option D, they kill the prey with the help of barbs. So Nigerians have the nidocytes, which are also known as the stinging cells, one of the most important property of Nigerians. So the correct option will be option A. They kill the prey with the help of stinging cells. Question number 31 is what are the two characteristics of class Anthozoa? Option A is Mesoglea fibrous, predominantly medusoid. Option B is the Mesoglea cellular, both polyp and medusoid forms. And option C is the Mesoglea fibrous, polypoid forms only. And option D is Mesoglea non-cellular, polypoid forms. So here the correct option will be option C, Mesoglea fibrous, polypoid forms only. So option C will be the correct option in this question. So question number 32 is common characteristics of Hydrodinaria are option A Seta and Parapodia absent, option 2 is the Seta are present but Parapodia absent, and option D blood suckers are present. So most common characteristics of these are they have the blood suckers but Seta and Parapodia are absent. So here the correct option will be B. So we are gonna mark that option. So B will be the correct option. Question number 33 is the flatworm that's the endoparasite of humans is A is the rosacea, B is the fasciola, C is the tinea, D is the hydra. So the most common endoparasite of humans is Tinea saginata, which is commonly known as the tapeworm. That is endoparasite and lives in our intestine. So question number 34, which statement about enzyme is essential to the lock and key hypothesis? Option A, enzyme molecules each have distinct shape. B, enzyme molecules are catalysts. C, enzyme molecules can be damaged by high temperature. And D is enzyme molecules can be damaged by high pH value. So the lock and key hypothesis tells us about the shape of the things. So there is the special shape of the key that fits into the lock, and the same shape of key can't fit into that lock or can't unlock it. So here the lock and key model is about the shape. So here the correct option will be option A, enzyme molecules each have distinct shape. So option A will be the correct option. Question number 35 is the oxygen transported through blood plasma is about. Option A is the 1%, option B is the 3%, option C is the 5%, and option D is the 7%. So the oxygen transported through blood plasma is about 3%. Most of the oxygen is transported through the red blood cells, and the other oxygen is also, some amount of oxygen is also transported through the water present in the RBCs. And the oxygen transported through plasma entirely is approximately 3% of oxygen. Question number 36 is penicillin is a kind of antibiotic which work as option A is a resistor, option B is a competitive inhibitor, and option C is a non-competitive inhibitor, and option D is the competitive inhibitor. So penicillin is a antibiotic that is also obtained from the bacteria, and antibiotics are useful against bacteria. So penicillin is a competitive inhibitor, and that interferes in the process of cell wall making in bacteria, cell wall process formation in bacteria. Question number 37 is all of the following are examples of polysynaptic transmissions except A is the heartbeat, option B is the breathing, option C is the knee jerk, and option D is the playing game. So all of the following are examples of polysynaptic transmission except one, that is the knee jerk. Knee jerk is an example of monosynaptic reflex and consists of only 2 neurons. And it consists of only 2 neurons. So here the correct option will be knee jerk. Question number 38 is the cells which do not secrete the antibodies are option A is the T lymphocytes, option B is the B lymphocytes, option C is the T helper cells, and option D is the U helper cells. So the cells that do not secrete the antibodies and don't take part in humoral immunity are T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes are mainly important in cell mediated immunity. Question number 39 is use and disuse of the postulate of organs was given by option A is the Darwin, option B is the Wallace, option C is the Weizmann, and option D is the Lamarck. So use and disuse theory was given by the Lamarck because he said that The more you use the organs, the more will it will be developed into the next generation. Or if you will stop using the organ, that will ultimately be diminished or reduced in size, or will be rudimentary organ, or ultimately will be absent in next generation. So here the correct option will be option D, Lamarck. Question number 40 is all the living entities are created by God. The theory is named as theory of natural selection. Option B is theory of survival of fittest. Option C is the theory of inheritance of acquired characters. And option D is the theory of special creation. So there were two schools of thoughts at that time, and one thought that was mostly followed by a religious person was that the all living entities are created by God, and that school of thought was known as theory of special creation. So here the correct option will be theory of special creation, and all the religious person like priests were used to follow this theory of special creation. So question number 41 is choose the correct flow of impulse transmission in the heart rate. Option A is the from AV node to SA node to bundle of phase into Purkinje fibers. And question number B, option number B is SA node to AV node bundle of phase into Purkinje fibers. Here the correct option is the option B, because SA node is also known as the pacemaker of the hearts. So the impulses start generating in the SA node, then these impulses will move towards the AV node, and from AV node to bundle of phase, and it will be distributed to the myogenic muscles of the heart through the Purkinje fibers. So the correct option will be option B, from SA node to AV node to bundle of phase, and then ultimate to Purkinje fibers. So question number 42 is a bone that lies in between the skull and postcranial skeleton is. Option A is the hyoid bone, option B is incus bone, option C is the malleus bone, and option D is the steps bone. So that bone is the hyoid bone. Hyoid bone is the only bone of the body that is not connected to other bone of the body. This is a single bone, and this is fixed at its place by the ligaments and tendons. So the option question number 43 is which of the following is not a non-specific immune response? Not a non-specific means it is the specific immune response. Option A is the HCl, option B is the T cells, and option C is the mucus, and option D is the spermine. Here the correct option will be option B, T cells, because T cells is mainly involved in cell mediated immunity, and that is a specific response of the body against the antigen. Against a specific antigen. Question number 44 is the system that drains blood from the body to the circulatory system is. Option A is the lymphatic system, option B is the digestive system, option C is the cardiovascular system, and option D is the immune system. So the system of body that drains blood that is devoid of red blood cells means that is known as the lymph or plasma, and you know very well that plasma and the lymph has the same composition. So that system is the lymphatic system. Option A will be the correct option, but keep in mind the lymphatic system is absent in our central nervous system. Means there is no lymphatic system in our brain and spinal cord. So question number 45 is the most abundant type of white blood cell that reach rapidly at the site of infection are. Option A is the neutrophils, option B is the macrophages, option C is the basophils, and option D is the lymphocytes. So the most abundant type of white blood cells that reach at the time site of infection are neutrophils, because neutrophils are the 72% of all the white blood cells. Question number 46 is the example of carnivorous plant is. Option A is the Funaria hygrometrica, option B is the polypoid glycorrhizia, option C is the Pinus gerardiana, option D is the Diona muscipula. So the correct option here will be option D, Diona muscipula, because that's a carnivorous plant. Question number 47 is the Casparian strip is present in. Option A is the epidermis layer, option B is the endodermis layer, option C is the xylem layer, and option D is the phloem layer. So the Casparian strip is mainly present in endodermis layer. So the correct option will be option B, the endodermis layer. Okay. So the thoracic cavity is separated from the abdominal region by. Option A is the peritoneum membrane, option B is the mucous membrane, option C is the diaphragm, and option D is the mediastinum. So there is a marking between the thoracic cavity, or the border between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity, and that border is the diaphragm. So the thoracic cavity is separated from abdominal cavity with the help of diaphragm. So we have completed the biology portion. Now we are moving towards the chemistry portion. So the total number of moles present in 2.8 gram of ethylene molecules are: option A is the 0.1 mole, option B is the 0.2, option C is the 1, and option D is the 2 moles. So we know that the chemical formula of ethylene is C2H2, and the molecular mass of that is 28 grams, and we know the formula of finding the number of moles is number of moles you are being given divided by molecular weight of that molecule. So number of moles we are being given at 2.8 divided by 28, so the answer will be 0.1 gram. So when you will divide 2.8 with the 28, because 2.8 is given amount of ethylene and 28 is the atomic or molecular weight of the ethylene. So according to formula here, the answer will be option A, 0.1 gram. So here the correct option is 0.1 gram. Question number 73 is: the average distance covered by the gas molecule between successive collisions is known as: option A is the free path, option B is the mean free path, option C is the total free path, and option D is the total path. So the distance that is covered by the gas molecules between collision, this path is known as mean free path. So here the correct option will be option B, mean free path. Question number 74 is: the gas law in which the pressure is kept constant is known as: option A is the Boyle's law, option B is the Charles law, option C is the Dalton's law, option D is the Graham's law. So you all know very well that in Charles law volume is directly proportional to temperature, but we have to keep the pressure constant. So the correct option here will be option B, Charles law. Question number 75 is: the pressure 14.7 psi is equal to: option A is the 1 torr, option B is the 1 pascal, option C is the 1 atm, and option D is the 1 newton into meter. Here the correct option will be 1 atm, because 14.7 psi equals to 1 atm of pressure. So the correct option will be option C, 1 atm. The magnetic quantum number of 4f orbital would be: here the magnetic quantum number of 4f orbital will be -3, -2, -1 to 0, +1, +2, +3. Here the correct option will be option D option. I don't have the much time to solve this question. You can solve it by yourself, and this is not that much difficult. So just do it by yourself. This is upon you. So we are going towards the physics. Question number 152 is: a magnetic field exerts a force on a charged particle. Option A, if the particle moving across the field lines, B, if the particle is moving along the field lines, C, if the particle is at rest, or D, always experience force. So you know all very well that when the particles moves across the field lines making an angle of 90 degree, then they experience the maximum force. And if the particle is moving along the lines, then there will be no force, or if the particles are at rest, then there will be no any force experienced by that particle. But if the particle is moving through the magnetic field making an angle of 90 degree, then it will experience the maximum force. So the correct option will be option A, a particle moving across the field lines. So the correct option will be option A, the particle moving across the field lines. Question number 153 is: when magnetic field and area vector are perpendicular, then magnetic flux will be: option A is the 0, option B is the minimum, option C is the maximum, and option D is the optimum. You know all very well that magnetic flux is equal to magnetic field dot product vector area, or area vector. Here the area vector is given, not area is given. So when magnetic field and area vector are perpendicular, then magnetic flux will be 0. So keep in mind that here area vector is given, and you must differentiate between the area and the area vector, because this is the most important concept in the flux, magnetic flux. Okay. So question number 154 is: a coil of 600 turns is threaded by magnetic flux of 8 Webers. If this flux is reduced to 5 Webers in 3 seconds, the induced EMF in the coil will be. So you have to know the induced EMF formula. So induced EMF is equal to change in magnetic flux divided by change in time into number of turns. So change in magnetic flux is 8 minus 5 is equal to 3, and change in time is 3. 3 by 3 will be equal to 1, and when we will multiply this 1 to the number of turns into 600, 1 into 600, then there will be 600 volts. So here the correct option will be option A, 600 volt. In the formula for EMF, I am again repeating that formula. The formula of EMF is equal to change in magnetic flux into number of turns divided by change in time. Okay. Question number 155 is: a generator supplies 100 volt to the primary coil of a transformer. The primary coil has 150 turns and the secondary has 500 turns. The secondary voltage is, you should know the formula of that too, that number EMF produced by the secondary divided by EMF produced by the primary is equal to number of turns in secondary divided by number of turns in primary. So and you know very well that if the secondary transformer has more coils, then it will be known as a step-up transformer, and if the primary transformer has more coils, then it will be known as the step-down transformer, because the number of coils is directly proportional to the voltage or EMF produced by that generator or transformer. Okay, so here when you will put the value in the formula, there will be the answer, and here the answer will be option D, 1000 volts. So the correct option will be option D. The energy of an X-ray photon having wavelength of 3 into 10 raised power minus 10 is, so you should know the formula of the energy. E is equal to h nu, which is also known as E is equal to h into c divided by lambda, where h is the Planck's constant, c is the speed of light or velocity of light or velocity of electromagnetic wave, divided by lambda is the wavelength. When you will put lambda in that 3 into 10 raised power minus 10, then the correct option will be option C, 6.63 into 10 raised power minus 16. So we are going to mark that option. Option C will be the correct option, 6.63 into 10 raised power minus 16, and the formula for that will be E is equal to h into c divided by lambda. Question number 157 is: the force responsible for binding the nucleus is option A is the Coulomb's force, option B is the Newton force, option C is the weak nuclear force, and option D is a strong nuclear force. So there is a strong nuclear force that holds the protons together in a nucleus, because the protons are positively charged in nucleon and the neutrons are neutral. But in spite of that, the nucleus is much more stable because of the strong nuclear force. Question number 158 is: when two negative beta particles are emitted from a nucleus, then the mass number. We know that beta particles are the electrons, and electron has a negligible mass, so there will be no any change on the mass number of that atom, but it will have a change of only charge. It will have a change of only charge, because when negative charge will be emitted out from the nucleus, there will be excess of positive charge on that nuclei. So then there will be no change in the mass, because beta particles are mainly are known as mainly the fast moving electrons, and these fast moving electrons have negligible mass. So there will be no change in the mass of that atom. Question number 159 is: a 40-gram radioactive material is placed in a chamber having a half-life of 20 days. How much will be left after 80 days? We have to first count the half-life of that radioactive material. When we will divide 80 by 20, it will be 4. So we have to make the half of that amount given to us. Half of 40 gram will be 20, half of 20 will be 10, half of 10 will be 5. So sorry, half of 40 will be 20, and half of 20 will be 10, and half of 10 will be 5, and half of 5 will be 2.5 gram. So here the correct option will be 2.5 gram of that radioactive material will be present at that time, because this has been passed by 4 half-lives. Question number 160 is: which of the following electromagnetic radiation has the highest penetrating power? Option A is alpha rays, option B is the beta rays, option C is the gamma rays, and option D is the proton rays. So the most penetrating power radiation are option C, gamma rays. So here the correct option will be gamma rays because they are the most penetrating of all the radioactive radiations. Question number 163 is the process of converting an alternating current waveform into a direct current waveform is referred to as. Option A is the amplification, option B is the attenuation, option C is the filtration, option D is the rectification. So the correct option will be rectification because rectification is a process through which the AC current is being converted into DC current. Question number 164 is consider 3-point charges A, B and C as shown in figure. If the resultant force on charge A due to charge B and charge C is 0.024 Newton, the direction of resultant force will be. So the direction of resultant force here will be towards charge C. The correct option will be option C, towards charge C. Question number 165 is the EMF induced in a closed circuit is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux passing through the current refers to. Option A is the Lenz's law, option B is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, option C is the Coulomb's law and option D is the Ohm's law. So this is the most important in the famous law of Faraday. This is also known as Faraday law of electromagnetic induction that tells us about how EMF is being generated in the generators. Question number 166 is a javelin is thrown by Arshad Nadeem at projection angle of 45 degree with initial velocity of 30 meter per second. The range of the javelin will be considered G is equal to 10 meter per second square. When you will put it in the formula R is equal to V naught square sine 2 theta divided by G. So at angle of 45 degree there will be the maximum range. The maximum range will be at angle 45 degrees. So sine 2 theta will be equal to 1. So that will be R is equal to V naught square divided by G. So here the correct when you will put it in the formula the correct answer here will be the option B, 90 meters. You have to use the formula R is equal to V naught square sine 2 theta divided by G, where V naught is the initial velocity. Sine 2 theta will be equal to 1 because here angle is being given as 45 degree and 45 at angle 45 degree there will be the maximum range and G is equal to 10 meter per second square. Question number 167 is if a pendulum completes one cycle in a half second, its frequency is, we know very well that frequency is equal to number of cycles divided by time. Here it completes one cycle into 0.5 seconds, means it is equal to 1 divided by 0.5, means it will be 2 hertz. So the frequency will be 2 hertz because the frequency is equal to number of cycles divided by time. So the correct option will be option B. Question number 168 is the SI unit of electric charge is option A is the ohm, option B is the farad, option C is the coulomb and option D is the ampere. So the SI unit of electric charge is coulomb. The pretty simple question and pretty easy question. Question number 190 is identify the correct spelling of the given. Oh, we have completed the physics portion and now we are heading towards the English portion. Identify the correct spelling of the given word from the following. A is the GREI. So you have to know about the spelling of this word, and the correct spelling of this word will be GRIEVOUS, grievous, which means emotional. So the correct option will be option D, GRIEVOUS. So question number 191 is complete the given sentence with the most appropriate pronoun. Scientists dash dash are turning away from the curder mechanical ideas. Option A is ourselves, option B is the herself, option D is the themselves, and option D is the theirselves. So here the most correct and appropriate pronoun will be themselves. So the correct option will be themselves. Scientists themselves are turning away from the curder mechanical ideas. Question number 192 is identify the tense of the given sentence. The sick child has been sleeping for 3 hours. Option A is the present perfect continuous tense, option B is the present perfect tense, option C is the past perfect tense, and option D is the present continuous tense. One of the pretty easy and simple question, and if you have a little bit knowledge about the tenses, then this is nothing in front of you. So the correct option will be option A, present perfect continuous tense. Question number 193 is spot the error in the given sentence. Our university has organized a conference to discuss the economical conditions of the country. Option A is the our, option B is has organized, option C is to, and option D is the economical. Here the error in this sentence is economical. So the correct option will be option D. So we are moving towards a logical reasoning. Three persons X, Y and Z wore pants of blue, khaki and grey colors, not necessarily in this order, and shirts of white, blue and pink colors, not necessarily in this order. You have to understand this, that it is being written not necessarily in this order. No one wore pants and shirts of the same color. X did not wear shirt of white color, Y did not wear shirt of blue color, Z did not wear shirt of pink color, Y did not wear pant of blue color, and Z wears pant of hockey color. So we are gonna arrange it. So this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. And they have wore blue, hockey and grey colors. So X did not wear shirt of white color, Y did not wear pant of blue color. Blue, khaki and grey colors. So just write as blue, khaki and grey color. And shirts of white, blue and pink. Shirts of white, blue and pink. We can change this order. We can change this order because it has been written not necessarily in this order. Here we have been given X didn't wear shirt of white color. X अगर white color की shirt नहीं पहनेगा तो फिर he will wear the shirt of pink color because we can change that order. So just put P here, pink and white here. Y did not wear shirt of blue color. Y did not wear shirt of blue color. Okay, that's right. Z did not wear shirt of pink color. Z did not wear shirt of pink color. No, Z has worn the shirt of white color. Y did not wear pant of blue color. Y did not wear pant of blue color now. And Z wears pant of hockey color. And Z wears pant of hockey color. So here will be Z hockey color. Y did not wear pant of blue color. Y did not wear pant of blue color. So pant of blue color will be worn by X, and pant of grey color will be worn by G. Y. So what were the columns of pants and shirts respectively worn by X? Blue worn by X. So अब देखते हैं कि X ने क्या पहना है पीछे. तो X ने पहना है ब्लू पैंट एंड वाइट शर्ट, ब्लू पैंट एंड पिंक शर्ट. So blue and pink. So here the correct option will be blue and pink. The option A will be the correct option. Question number 196 is look carefully at the sequence of symbols to find the pattern. Select the correct option. Here is the square and here is the circle. Here is trapezius and here is the triangle. In the other situation, the second figure comes at the first, whereas the first figure goes to the last. So the circles reaches at the first level, they at the first number, and the square will go up to the last number. Okay, and here the circle is at the first number, and in second the circle will be at the last number. And here this trapezius is at the second number, but in second the trapezius will be at the first number. So the correct sequence of that will be, here the trapezius is at the first number and we have to put the trapezius at the last, and this second triangle is at the and the triangle is at the second number. We have to put triangle at the first number. Okay, and that two squares in circle will be at this respective positions. So here the correct option will be triangle, square, circle and trapezius. I don't know what the exact name of this figure, but I just call it as a trapezium or trapezius. I don't know what to call it, but here the correct option will be option B, the correct option. So I hope you have understood each and everything. If you have any question regarding this, you may ask it in comment section. So thanks a lot for your time and consideration, and wish you best for your MDCAT test.